Loving greetings to you. This is the Marriage Foundation channel. This is where people come to learn real things about marriages, because what is out there now, quite frankly, is it's sort of bizarre. If you really think about it, who handed the keys to marriage teachings to Western psychologists? Not that they're bad people. They're good people. They want to help, and I appreciate that. All social workers, in my opinion, are among those in society who are the most helpful, the most positive. But Western psychology doesn't really cover marriage at all. It really doesn't. Now, obviously, psychology is a component in everything, and the CIA uses psychology, police work, they use psychology, they use psychology to help people through grieving processes and things like that. But when it comes to marriages, they totally miss the boat because they don't understand marriage as it being a spiritual entity. Think about that. Spiritual doesn't mean religious, by the way. Let's get past that right now. This is not a religious foundation. The Marriage Foundation is an educational foundation. I used to be a divorce mediator. Yeah, it was over 22 years ago. And one of my couples came in for a divorce and they started crying. They said, "We don't really want a divorce. Would you help us save our marriage?" It was reasonable for them to ask a divorce mediator, because a divorce mediator is a communications expert. We need to understand what people are saying. And then we're good at analyzing what goes where. How do we divide this up? And I believed in divorce at the time. But when I asked my psychologist friends for their advice, because I was going to help them, they said, well, listen to what they have to say and see if you can help them sort things out. And I thought, what is that going to do? Their whole marriage must be so terrible that they're looking for a divorce. How could that be the right way? So I did a deep dive. And I started with a question that actually surprised me when that question came to me, was why do people get married in the first place? And the answer is surprisingly simple and embarrassingly so, because most of us have a subjective viewpoint. I want to have kids. I want to be with someone when I die. I want to, those kind of answers. I want to be with my soulmate, very vague. Well, soulmate is as unvague an answer as you'll get. But there is an overall answer, and that is that we want to be happy. And so finding out what you're doing wrong is just a small part of getting back to happiness. We want to be happy. We should be proactively working on our happiness, right? And this is what I discovered. I completely gave up divorce mediation, totally got into healing marriages, and because of my profession, I had access to some of the worst cases imaginable, cases where psychologists told the couple, don't come back, or told the individual, don't come back unless you separate for a while, or some other bizarre thing. So anyway, I developed a system. A fellow divorce mediator said, "Paul, we got to get this out here." He wrote out a check for $1,000. We walked over to an attorney and started the foundation. That was in 2009. We've saved thousands of marriages with our courses, even just with this free offerings like the YouTube videos, articles that I've written. So here we are, and we have a great topic. 7 signs you're in a healthy marriage. This is good. This is good thinking. Am I in a healthy marriage? What will tell me that my marriage is healthy? Well, for one thing, and this is number one, you're happy. That's why we get married. If your marriage is healthy, you're happy. Not just happy, but you're happier today than you were yesterday. You'll be happier tomorrow. Why? Nothing is standing still in this world. You know that. It's either moving up or moving down. Occasionally we'll see something like this, but not for very long. And so we should be looking for, in a healthy marriage, ever increasing happiness. And if you have that, you know that your marriage is healthy. You're probably doing all the right things. You could always read one of my books and confirm that for yourself. But that's what healthy means, happy. There used to be a healthy, happy, and holy. That's another way to say that. Number 2, and this is so important. You know, when you ask people, why did you get married? Almost everyone says, because I fell in love. Almost everyone. And that's a statistical thing. They did a study on that one. And the truth of the matter is that love brings you happiness, right? So love is important. So you're more in love every day. More in love. How does that happen? It doesn't happen by itself. Nothing happens by itself in this world. We have free will for a reason. We are supposed to evolve as individuals towards ever increasing happiness and ever expanding love. You need to know how to cultivate the love and devotion that you have for your spouse is intended to increase. So that's number 2. You're more in love every day. Healthy. And you can't have one without the other. Okay, number 3. And this is cool. I like this. By the way, how do I prepare for these videos? I have no notes. All I have are notes is I get the topic and then I write down, I fill in the blanks. So in this case, it was like signs you're in a healthy marriage, and I just started writing, okay, and it ended up with 7 good signs, and that's how I got the title for this video. And so after that, I don't have notes. This is all flowing through me. I live this. And when you're married, you should be living your marriage. And number 3 is you feel better about yourself as an individual who is growing. Growing towards what? You know, we throw out these terms all the time. You see it on Facebook. That's a great medium, but we throw these things out. Rumi says, or so-and-so said. What does it mean to grow? What does it mean? Growing towards what? There's only 2 important things to grow towards. One is happiness, and that's a birthright, and 2 is love, also a birthright. And if you are moving in the right direction, your marriage will be healthier because you're half of the marriage. You can't expect your spouse to move along with you. You don't want that. You don't care because they have their own life. I defined marriage because when I looked for a definition of marriage early on, I saw nonsensical stuff like a civil blah, 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 or a religious blah, blah, blah. No, it's an individual spiritual path that 2 soulmates take together. Well, what is a spiritual path? It's a path towards love and happiness. God is love and joy. So that's what it's all about. It's the same in marriage. Your marriage should be your religion. And you should feel good that you're growing. How do you grow? There's so many ways. Number 4. This is important. This is more than just a feel-good video if you pay attention. Number 4 is you don't have expectations of your husband or your wife. You see, One of the greatest gifts that you have, and you'll acknowledge this right away, is your free will. No one can mess with you because you have free will. They cannot tell you how to think. They can manipulate you into thinking a certain way. People do that all the time because we live in a bizarre world. But you have free will, a gift from God. And so you need to respect your spouse's free will. 100%. People want to draw lines. Oh, where do I set my boundaries? There's no boundaries to set because your spouse has free will and you have free will. And if they cross the line of what you consider to be an imposition upon you, you have the free will to decide whether you're going to care what they have to say or not. Sure, you care about what they have to say, but it doesn't mean you have to do what they tell you you think they're telling you to do, because you have free will, and they'll honor it. But if you honor your own, and if you honor theirs, that's going to really go a long way towards creating a healthy relationship. Your relationship should be up here, between you souls, because that's what you are. You're a soul. Soulmate, you're souls. You have a body and you have a mind, but that's not what you are. You're a soul. Respecting each other's God-given rights is important. Number 5, you're less judgmental, because being judgmental is normal. You're less judgmental every day, and even more important, you're more compassionate. Compassion comes from the heart. It's never from the mind, and there is a big difference. We own our mind. We are our heart. Heart/soul. So the more you progress towards happiness, the more you progress towards love, the more your heart is opening, that's telling you that everything will be healthier for you. Not just your marriage, but you, all your other relationships. So that's another great sign of a healthy marriage, that your compassion is expanding, your love and non-judgmentalness is expanding. We don't have to like what other people do. If we looked in the mirror, really objectively, we wouldn't like what we do ourselves. And it's okay to decipher, to say, well, this is good and this is bad, or we don't grow. But we don't have to have a judgment around it. That's God's area. He's the one who gets to judge. We get to change. So judging another, especially in the confines of your marriage, your soulmates. So many people break these rules and they become cellmates. They're not so happy anymore. So becoming less and less judgmental, more and more compassionate is a good sign of a healthy marriage. Number 6, you're going to find this to be interesting. This is physical. Your eyes are brighter. Yeah. The deeper you go into love and equilibrium, you might say, that is, minding your own business, doing what you have to do to evolve, the more clarity shows up literally in your eyes. I'm a meditator. Everyone can tell when I've just had like a 3-hour meditation. They'll go, wow, your eyes are glowing. What do you do? And I go, I do it all. I'm happy. That's what brings happiness. We should strive for happiness within ourselves and within our marriage. That's what it's all about. Number 7, I like this one. This came to me, and I know who put it in this. And so I'm going to share it with you. And that is, you feel God's presence more and more. And for the 1 or 2 atheists who have already probably clicked off this video, God bless you. You don't have to believe in God for him to believe in you. But as you evolve in your marriage and you feel more and more that depth of love and joy, that is the presence of God. And you know your marriage is healthy and healthier when you feel that presence, because that's what it's all about. Like I said earlier, your marriage is a religion. What is a religion? It is a pathway to God. Your marriage can and literally should be a path to God, because you're developing those qualities of the soul. You're cultivating it. And you know what really sets us apart as human beings is that we know that God is. Animals don't know about God. They don't have discussions about whether there's a God or not. And those of us who feel God's presence and then start looking for it everywhere, it's right in front of you when you're married. It's right there. I never forget when I'm embracing my wife and she's embracing me. I never forget to say, thank you, God. Thank you. This is such a wonderful gift you have given us. I never forget that. I don't force myself to remember to say that. It comes naturally. And that is the sign of a healthy marriage, isn't it? So I don't think you need our courses. We have a course for men and a course for women, and those are for marriages that are sliding quickly towards divorce. On the other hand, we have books. I wrote a couple of books. Breaking the Cycle is one. Lessons for Happy Marriage is another. And it's sort of an overlay of what a real healthy marriage is all about. And so those are good, but these videos are good too. Just subscribing to this channel and watching these, it will help you in your marriage. Why? It's not that you don't know any of this. It's that we are just bombarded with wrong information about marriage. And we're not able to sometimes discern what is right or wrong, because when they say things, it sounds perfectly reasonable, and it's all wrong. And so you have to be careful. You really need to saturate yourself with higher teachings as your defense against incorrect teachings that will undermine your happiness, undermine your love. Remember, that's what your marriage is all about. Happiness and love. That's what we want you to have. We want you to have it in your marriage. I'm Paul Friedman. I'm so glad you joined, and I hope to see you again. God bless you. God bless your marriage, and take care.